Hello there. Just getting the live set up and we will go. Perfecto. I'm just gonna be able to see the comments. Okay, there we go. We are going. Okay, so the topic of today is using our sexuality through these intense times to help us awaken and to help smooth moving through all the anxiety, the frustration, the fear, etc., that is coming through us. So how to describe it? So we are awakening as a world, and there's a whole bunch of world events that are going, that are poking and prodding us in the areas that we need to wake up. And it's bringing to the surface a lot of really strong emotions, old energy, trauma, a lot of victim, etc. And this doesn't feel very good in our bodies. And it's not meant to not feel good, but it's something that we need. It's kind of like a pressure that's allowing us to birth forth trapped energies inside our body, birth forth old programming, old beliefs, etc., for us to go in and make a choice. And the world a lot of times is screaming at us. If you're looking, I live in Canada, if you're looking at some of the stuff with the truckers' protests, all this kind of stuff, you're seeing the government with this like heavy-handed sledgehammer, just like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you. You get out. We already heard you. Go away. You're a nuisance. It's bringing up patterns that have been used by our bosses, by our parents, by teachers, by exes, by a whole bunch of other people to exert power over us. And it doesn't look very good watching from the outside. It personally, for me, it makes my throat feel all tight. My tongue goes up against the roof of my mouth and my heart closes off and I feel a whole bunch of stress in my body. Now, those energies can become overwhelming sometimes. And we haven't learned in most cases to be present enough with ourselves sometimes to be able to work with those energies, start to talk to them, etc. So sometimes we need tools that'll calm our body down and get us in a meditative state. And you can use these energies that we're about to talk about, orgasmic energies, sexual energies, etc., as a bypass to get past them. But they also have this beautiful ability to calm our body, to flush out really present energies in our body, and then leave us in a state of presence where we get really calm, we get really quiet, we see things, and we can start to see underneath without all the pressure. Like if you're being squeezed, you might feel panicked and you can't get to the point where you can get calm enough or catch your breath enough. But that state happens after we have pleasure. Our brain gives out all these beautiful serotonins, oxytocins, etc., that calm us in exactly the amount we need. We also get our central channel cleared out. The orgasmic energy will go up, and if we breathe it properly, it'll go out and it'll calm our whole body. It'll blast out. Think of it as a pipe cleaner that goes up and down your central channel. It's supposed to be a nice hollow tube where stuff can move through, and it's filled with junk that's been put there that we didn't even know it was there. So what I want to speak about is, what can we do for ourselves at these times when we're really anxious? And it's a tool I use all the time. If I'm having a bad day and I just feel like shit and just want to curl up and cry, but I can't cry, I can't move it. Now, firstly, if you can move it, just go sit with yourself and move it, cry, feel that emotion, feel that suffering, that pain, whatever, for 60 to 90 seconds, and just scream and emote it. Use the thickest pillow, go and turn on the radio so nobody can hear you, so you're not feeling ashamed or whatever, and just let it go. But if it's trapped and you're just like, I don't know what to do with this, I'm at the end of my rope, you have a tool. And people are going to think this might be strange and weird or whatever, but that's because of the shame in the world. We have this tool in our body where we can normalize ourselves in a very short period of time. And that's through our own pleasure. So if we can get to the state of orgasmicness, that trigger which is called the petite mort in French, or the small death, basically resets our whole system. And we can start to use that as a tool, take control of it for ourselves. Don't let the church own it. Don't let our parents own it. Don't let other people's judgment of us, whether or not that's weird or different. Go and use this birthright tool. Children in the womb have been shown on ultrasound touching themselves and their genitals because it feels good. But as we get out, our parents slap our hands and say, don't touch that. That's not good. Don't be naked. Don't be whatever. And eventually we're trained out of this tool that's our birthright. And it's the most innocent, pure thing that you can ever do for yourself. And if you're struggling with shame or other things about giving yourself pleasure, come talk to me. Come talk to somebody in the group. We can get through this. But it's the most innocent thing you can do. So most of us don't consider something called a self-pleasure practice in our world. A self-pleasure practice is basically taking time for yourself to kind of like go on a date, have a bath, go in the shower, and it's all about giving yourself pleasure, not waiting for a partner or trying to have sex with someone or whatever, just setting aside time that's you time for an hour or whatever, where you can calm and relax and breathe and start to touch your body to see if you feel what feels good. Oh, up here feels good. Oh, it's so tight up here, or whatever. Or, oh, my tongue's against the roof of my mouth. Or you'll find out you got to breathe and ground yourself. Get your toes on the carpet and start wriggling your toes in the carpet and get yourself grounded so you can start to feel yourself. Some people can't even feel their genitals because their energy field is about a foot above their head. So they're touching at the root chakra and they can't even get there. So ground yourself, have a bath, start to feel in your body, and then start to feel what tickles, what feels good and what feels fun. And yeah, you may say, okay, this is ugly and this is not fun or whatever. Well, sometimes if people are going to question this, put some porn on, something that will allow you to get in the state, get aroused, get there. You're using that as a part of your tool. Eventually you can get more calm, and then it's going to become much easier. But use whatever tools you need. Put on some music. Use a feather. Use a whatever. Just get into a state where it feels really good. Start feeling good about yourself. Sometimes you might need that mental stimulation of a picture or something like that, but use it. Get to a point where you can start to build up your orgasmic energy. At the start, you're just going to want to do whatever you need to get to that orgasmic place. That orgasm, when it comes, and we're going to talk about how to build it stronger, but when it comes, breathe it into your body. Like you're just feeling that tickle, 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 and then breathe. Most people crunch up and go like this, but pull that energy into your body and pull it out into your light body and just crack your chest open. And instead of just spraying out your orgasmic energy into the room, just pull it into your body and let it go up your central channel. Set an intention to say, I'm releasing all this negative. And then as time goes on and as you get more comfortable, let's finish this before. So once you get to that point, you're going to finish and you're just going to feel this blissful state. And just lay there, feel in that blissful state. Stay as quiet as you can. Don't move. Start to listen to your body and start to feel the feelings that are coming, and just let it be there. Play with it. Have fun. Just sit there. And yeah, eventually it's going to wear off, or the phone's going to ring, or somebody's going to knock on the door, or whatever, but just sit with it. That is the most meditative state you can ever get in. And you don't have to take a course. You don't have to spend years to get all this shit out of your mind. And eventually you're going to slowly train yourself to stay in that state longer and longer. And eventually you're going to be in that state when you walk around during the day. You're going to be this observer and not ruled by outside stuff. And then as you get better and better at that, you're going to find out, holy shit, the world's easier. It's simpler because all these serotonins and oxytocins and all these beautiful things are coming out of your brain and into your body to give you exactly what you need in the moment. Your body is the most intelligent thing you've ever known, but we don't listen to it. We don't feel it. We don't, whatever. We're just cut off, and our energy's up here and our body's down here, and the body's feeling pain and the energy up here is trying to escape. We got to learn to be one with our body. Once we're one with our body, we start to feel all those feel good things. We're going to start to say, okay, I deserve that feel good all the time. I deserve a partner that I can maybe share that with. I can deserve all these things. Your body's going to normalize itself. And I'm going to guarantee sometimes in a really bad day, I have to give myself pleasure 3 times in a day. And that may sound weird or whatever. I couldn't give a flying fuck because it's the only thing that kept me from killing myself on several occasions, because the energies are so intense at times. So don't feel ashamed about how often. Use that tool to get you back to a better place. The longer you're in a better place and your vibration stays high, the more and more momentum you're going to build on the higher vibration. And as you build that, you're going to want that more and more in your life. And guess what? You're probably going to attract a partner that you can share that with once you get out of your shame, and magic's going to happen. Then you can share it with them. The energies are going to get that much higher, a polarity of a masculine and a feminine. And I'm not saying a man and a woman, that can be in any kind of body, but they come in their opposite polarity, and you share that pleasure with your polarity, and it amplifies. And then we can talk about all these beautiful magnetic fields and these alchemical fields that come with sharing of sexual juices and other things, and it's magic. Now, as we get more and more better at this and more in our body and trust to go into the orgasmic states and stuff like that, we can start to do things like fire breath orgasm, where when we're starting to get close to our arousal and we're gonna release, instead we just grab our PC muscle, we squeeze it with our body, and then breathe the orgasmic energy. Feel a lot of pleasure, bring it up to your next chakra, and then fill both of those chakras. When you get to the next point, bring it up to your 3rd chakra, 4th chakra, 5th chakra. Might take half an hour, but holy shit, by the time you've pulled that energy up through your whole body, you're going to feel like a different person. Your sexuality, your a level of pleasure, your self-awareness is going to grow huge. And there's no mental work. There's no, I got to understand this or whatever. The smashing energy of orgasmicness will crash through anything, and it will break up bubbles of emotion that are trapped in us that keep us in disease, or we have pains, or gallbladder, or sore back, or all these millions of things, even cancers, are all just trapped energy that we have no way to get rid of. But I will tell you right now, our orgasmicness will milk our body. Those spasms that we feel will push all those energies out. And sometimes you're going to feel terror. Sometimes you're going to feel happy. Sometimes women, this happens a lot too. They'll be in the middle of sexuality or orgasm, and something will pop, and they'll be having tears. They'll be like in a happiness, like that this trauma that was in their body was trapped in their yoni. Same with men, will pop in the middle of this from all this pressure, and it'll be gone. And then from then on, that energy isn't stuck anymore. You're starting to pump your body to move the energies in its natural way it was supposed to. And the more it's clear, and the less pressure it has on it, and the less fear, and the more you're in your body, you're going to be able to feel it. You're going to be able to say, oh, what is that? And then move through it and go through. And if you have a partner, once you get to more advanced levels of all this stuff, it starts with you alone. But once you have a partner, afterwards, it's like, oh, I felt this thing, and can I talk about my ex-marriage and this trauma that I had, or my sexual abuse, or my whatever, or my boss, or whatever. And poof, you now have that depth of intimacy with another person. You can share vulnerably about anything, and then the story's out, and all this stuff. Somebody heard you, and now that you can be free. This is the gift of our sexual energy. This is why I created Awakening Through Sexuality, is to build a place where people can start to use that tool, that gift, for healing. And then once you're ready, we're going to create communities where you can go and work with other people. I'm not even talking healers. Just find another person in the room that has the same concepts and knows how to do this. And then the powerfulness of coming together with that person is going to be hugely more. And I'm going to tell you right now, to wait to do our healing through a marriage is backwards. We need to do our work in advance before we come through, and then we get to a place where we can be our best for a partner, and then draw in that one that we're all looking for. But instead, we go into these like hot little flings of people that we feel attracted to, and we don't use the tools. We're wait, and marriage is stuck in between that, and then we got to have kids and all this kind of stuff, when really we needed to do our work sooner. We needed to go through those levels of self-awareness early on, and that's where we can start talking about 3 months of the relationship agreements and stuff, where we consciously go in, and instead of dating, we're working with a partner to help work through our stuff and see if we're compatible, and then we can move forward. And instead of all this like passive aggressive, well, I won't talk talk about this and I'm protecting you or whatever. Instead, we're bound by the contract to deal with what shows up and have hard, direct conversations, but in ways where we got little tools and step back and we learn how to go through triggers. This will create this beautiful crucible of healing and purification of ourselves. Instead of having to go through 3 marriages and 3 divorces before we've cleaned up all our stuff, we go and do that work early on and work through it and find a new way and find all the tools with another person using those intimacies and our sexuality to start to open us. This is the way it was always meant to be, but religion and all this control that's been going on in the world has been crushing us into this thing that's not working. And with 65% divorce rates and other things, we need to change the tools so that we can come together at a deeper level, more connected, talk about all our vulnerabilities, talk about our fears, talk about all our traumas, and work through them. And then that person that's going to stick through you through all that kind of stuff may well be the perfect person. But if you got to hide it and say, I'm good, little girl, and this didn't happen to me, and this didn't happen to me, but inside you're just burning about it, and good little boy, we're stuck forever. And we don't even have the intimacy with our wife or husband to be able to move through it. So awakening through sexuality gets us into ownership of our personal sexuality first, and then it teaches us all the tools to move through our sexuality and use it as the tool to awaken us. And once you get to that place, the shame and guilt and everything is gone from it. And then it's this pure act. It's not about dumping your energy into another person or other things. It's about sharing it, speaking openly about it. Hearing there is keeping in balance of all this kind of stuff. And there is nothing to dump at that point. But when you're hidden and ashamed about it, you're hiding all this stuff and you pass things off. So I don't want to drag this out too long. We could go into this topic for hours. I'd love to do some little workshops around this, like an hour and a half, teaching all the tools for triggers training and that kind of stuff. In the past, there wasn't a lot of interest, but I think there's a time coming out right now where it's going to be very of interest. Just send me a note on the bottoms of these videos, private message me, Paul Handreader on Facebook, and let's get together and start creating these communities so that we can start learning all these things and moving through it as quickly as possible. My highest joy is to get people through the awakening process as quick as possible. It took me 10 years and divorce and a huge amount of pain. I want to give people the tools that I've learned to get through this in 6 months or a year, quickly moving through mountains of shit that's been around for millennia. So that's what awakening through sexuality is. It's a very quick awakening tool that is pleasurable, is fun, and it will move us through really awful energies without the struggle, without the pain, and without the strife. So I love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Bonnie and Elohim. I see the notes. Have a great day. And thank you for listening. Send this out to anybody that's interested. Get them in the group. This is the time. We're going to be moving through some big energies, and I'm here to support people. So I love you. Have a great day. And hopefully this tickled your interest, and you'll see in your heart that there's some truth in this topic that a lot of people are uncomfortable with, but uncomfortable means it's poking in the right spots and it's moving us through change as quickly as possible. So ride into your comfort and you'll find out it's not discomfort, it's it's actually exhilaration, and it's your body going back to its state that it knows is right. So love you all. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.